Hi. A few days ago, I was talking about primary school aged children and the emotions that they might be going through, and how the way they're acting out quite often can be a mask for other deeper emotions that they're experiencing but not really able to verbalise. On Friday evening, I was watching a webinar on professional development, not about coronavirus, but actually about children's separation and how they react to their parents divorcing. And we touched on something called the anger iceberg. And therapists have used this for a very long time to basically explain emotions and how they work. But it occurred to me that a lot of people who haven't got a counselling background may not have heard of the anger iceberg, and therefore it might be worth just mentioning it now in context of coronavirus and how your children or even yourself might be feeling. So the idea is it's an analogy based on an iceberg, and an iceberg has a little bit of its area above the surface and a whole load more underneath. And what we see on the surface is actually only a small part of what's happening, which is the case with the emotions that we might be seeing in our children. So the idea is that what we see is anger, but what's underneath the anger is a whole load of other emotions that people are struggling with, and therefore what comes out is anger, but the problem is the emotion driving the anger. So I'm going to upload a diagram to go with this video, but we can see here, for example, we've got fear, grief, stress, frustration, embarrassment, lonely, uncomfortable, scared, worried, insecure, exhausted, overwhelmed, traumatized, depression, helplessness, nervous, envious, trapped. And all of those might be emotions that you or your children are feeling at this prolonged isolation, and all the stuff surrounding it in terms of fear around coronavirus. Some of them are quite obvious, like fear, stress, frustration, lonely. Some are less obvious. Embarrassment. Maybe they're embarrassed by how scared they feel. Maybe they're embarrassed by how relieved they feel not having to go out into the world. And the whole point is that we can't necessarily solve all of these issues all in one go. And of course, with coronavirus, there's not much we can do to solve the underlying problem. But if we can just appreciate that what's driving the anger and the behaviour is actually the emotions underneath, it helps us to talk to our children, to communicate with them, to say to them, look, you're not behaving very well today. I know this is not like you. I know it's because actually you're scared, you're worried, you're insecure, you're feeling overwhelmed. Well, if we can talk to them about some of this, maybe we can foster a better relationship. Maybe they'll feel more listened to. Maybe they themselves will start to examine their behaviour and work out what's driving it. I hope that's helpful. Stay safe, and I'll speak to you all again soon.